When it rains at a GNCC, it gets muddy and it gets crazy. And that's what happened at our last race in Georgia when Grant Baylor from row 2 in the XC2 division nearly pulled off the overall win before Kailub Russell rallied back in the end to seal the victory. And there's more mud in the forecast today. Well, the string of mud races continues here in 2014 AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Maxxis. An AMA National Championship. The FMF Steele Creek GNCC will not only have water in the creek, but all over the darn place because an epic deluge on Saturday has left this place saturated. Don't let the shiny FMF KTM of Charlie Mullins or this NFAB Ampro Yamaha of Jordan Ashburn fool you. We've got a mudder today, although the conditions are a little bit different. The last race in Georgia was basically rain, 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 and water everywhere. Here, now that it is sunny, the track is starting to dry out, which means it'll be a stickier, sloppier mud, if that makes any sense. Kailub Russell, who you just saw there in the number 1, won that race in Georgia. So he has a little bit of confidence in the mud, but again, the conditions will be different today. You've got to be an all-arounder to win in the Grand National Cross Country Series. Let's go racing. And amongst all the 4-strokes, it's the 2-stroke of Stuart Baylor grabbing your All Balls Racing Hole Shot Award. Now Paul Whibley, normally a very strong starter, gets around him on the number 5 Yamaha. And everyone else is already covered in mud, and I can't say we're surprised. In fact, a lot of times riders will say for it to rain a lot and then stop at race time sometimes makes things worse because the mud gets so sticky when it begins to dry out. We'll see what happens as the day goes on. We're back to the start for XC2. Chris Douglas grabbing the digitaloffroad.com hole shot there. This is the class for 250cc bikes. And you want to watch for Grant Baylor on the number 1 in this division. He was battling for the overall win even against the big bikes at our last mud race there in Georgia, although not a good start for him. Back up front, looks like Kailub Russell has taken the lead in front of Stuart Baylor here in XC2. And now with Whibley pushed back to 3rd. Yes, Grant Baylor and Stuart Baylor are brothers. Probably know that. Course actually churning up pretty good. Who knows? Maybe all that rain will actually lead to good traction once the top layer gets slung off. We did have a youth race and a morning race already today with some of our amateur riders. Really just depends on the part of the track. This looks sloppy and icy as opposed to those sections in the woods, and you see Russell almost losing the back end there. Good run for Stuart Baylor in 2nd. Missed almost all of last season with a wrist injury. See him up front. And that's the 10 of Andrew DeLong up to 3rd. DeLong's first year in the big class in the big bikes. We'll see how he does. Russell able to control it right now, and I'll tell you what, your defending GNCC champion here is normally not a good starter. You give him an early lead like this, are really in trouble. So Baylor, DeLong, the rest of the group are really going to have to hustle, keep the number 1 in sight. Whibley in 4th. And Charlie Mullins coming through. But you see the smoke or steam coming off of his machine. That's not a good sign for your series point leader. Thad Duvall, not a good start for him. And the number 4, Josh Strank, same thing. These two are really going to have to hustle. Those are typically top 3, top 5 riders. They've got some work to do, and they are battling through that field. And we go to Russell up front. You hear the mud really dragging the engine down. This is going to be hard to figure out. 2-stroke of Baylor still in 2nd, DeLong in 3rd. Clearly this track has a little bit of everything. Some sections have dried out. They're slick, you need throttle control. Other sections are deep. You need to just pin that thing and get all the horsepower you possibly can out. There's probably other sections that are slippery. So it is really going to take good reading of the terrain skills here to figure out which dirt is going to react in which ways. Now, they are able to do some track maintenance when those youth and morning races end, so they'll go around with a dozer and clear some of the mud off and cover up some of the ruts. But obviously, it's dirt, it's mud, it's never going to be consistent all the way around. So Russell with a look over his shoulder. He sees no one. He's already got a big lead. Has to feel good about this. But I'd say Baylor is almost as happy in second as Russell is with the lead. It has been a while since we've seen Stu up front in one of these. Good for him. Now battle starting to rage for second on back. DeLong, Mullins. Got to assume one of the Yamahas, that's the 7 of Ashburn, is in this hunt. Not sure what happened to Whibley. Find our leader Russell a little bit further up the course. Baylor's keeping him honest. Now, Stu is always fast, there's no doubt about it. Former champion of the XC2 division and former champion of the AMA National Enduro Series. The talent is not in question. The problem for Baylor, 2 years ago, broke his wrist, raced the majority of the season with the broken wrist to try to win another XC2 title. Wasn't able to do it, and the long-term damage to that arm, well, it has been tough to overcome. Last year, a really bad season for him, missed most of the races. And he admits in these 3-hour affairs, the wrist, he doesn't know how much strength he has. I think today might be good for him. We watched Chris Bach, the number 9, and the 3 and the 9 of Jason Thomas come through, a couple other riders as well. I think for Baylor, the advantage today is this track not going to be as fast and not going to get as rough as it would under ideal conditions. So this, I would think, mean the wrist probably hold up a little bit longer. And he's doing well here in second. A lot of times this Steele Creek race just becomes whooped out, almost like a big motocross track. Today it's going to be a little bit different because they're not pushing the pace quite as much, and you've got to be careful in sections because of all that mud. Looks like Mullins into third now, so we have a sweep of the top 3 spots by the KTM bikes. I would say it's all orange up front, but the half of the bikes are pretty much covered in mud. So it's hard to tell. There's Russell getting through. And Baylor hanging it out in second. So it's a great day if you're riding on the factory KTM team. Everyone else really gonna have to hustle for some pressure on these boys. Stay tuned.
Twins have notoriously been very hard on crankshafts because that big long stroke of those 2 cylinders just flexes the crankshaft around. So we were seeing bearing issues. Research development people at AMSOIL could show us that it was likely an oil problem. And they were correct. That was the issue. Instead of having to redesign the engine, I just had to do a better quality oil.
Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Pan Am.
Guys, look out!
Guys, look out! We've got riders coming through. This section is flat and nasty. That's still Kailub Russell, your overall leader. Let's see what Stuart Baylor does through this creek crossing. Yeah, good to hear the 2-stroke sawing at this course. And there's another 2-stroke, sounds like stuck somewhere. And there goes Charlie Mullins on the big 450. He has to stop. I think he's actually waiting to figure out which way to go through there. Now it's Jordan Ashburn. Ashburn was up on the podium, top 3 overall at our last race in Georgia, so he's trying to ride that momentum here. And there's the Husqvarna of DeLong. Josh Strang, we saw him way back with Thad Duvall early, having to do some work. Now knocking on the door of the top 5, the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Yamaha. Down through pit road we go, and look, even this section is tough. Russell picking his way through the ruts. And you can hear the wind in our cameras. It is cold out there today, so it's just a totally different type of race than what we normally get here. As you see, Mullins has caught Baylor in a battle for second and third. Normally it's rough, it's a little bit hotter, it's fast, it's really a fitness battle. Today it's going to be all about smarts and reading this terrain. And right now Mullins can read the print on the back of Baylor's riding gear as he puts pressure on his young teammate, and I believe now he's made the pass. So Mullins on a roll, but he's got a lot of ground to make up on Russell, your leader, as we see Ashburn all by himself in fourth. So this can go two different ways for Ashburn. He could try to hook up the second and third place riders, or he could find himself in a battle with, I think this is Strang right here. It was DeLong, but now it's Strang. Whoa, feet off. A freestyle for the Australian. We'll see which way it goes for Ashburn. Can he start making a bid for the top three, or will he battle Strang? Got some Kailub Russell fans out here. He's originally from Ohio, but lives in North Carolina nowadays. This, in fact, a local race for a lot of these riders. Mullins, also now a North Carolina native. And Baylor in third. He is from South Carolina, born and raised. So Carolina boys looking good today. There's a reason that the riders pick this area of the country to live in, to ride and train in. Get a nice variety of terrain, as we've been talking about today. You can see it's rough. You got the ups and down hills, the different soil. And most of the time, the weather is pretty mild. You can ride year-round here. But a weekend like this maybe make you think otherwise. Here's Ashburn. Kid out of Tennessee will now have to fly the flag for Yamaha by himself because apparently Whibley has run into mechanical problems. Rough day for the Yamaha crew. They also have, oh, as their camera takes a roost. Yamaha also has your multi-time women's motocross champion Jessica Patterson, now racing the women's cross-country class in the morning at these things, and she ran into problems with her bike on the first lap today. Same thing has happened to Whibley here in the XC1 class. Whibley, a genuine title threat, a two-time series champ, is out. Gonna lose a ton of points. So here is Ashburn in fourth, trying to keep these boys honest. And watch out for this Yamaha, Strang. He pits right next to the NFAB AmPro team. Basically a sister operation to that. Here we are into the creek, and Strang is the rider to watch. He's making a bid right now to try to move into the top 40. Stay with us.
Sometimes you come across something so different, you just have to stop and check it out. The Rocky Mountain ATV MC website has everything you need, from our huge selection of tires, ATV and UTV accessories, and OEM parts, to our online chat, customer reviews, and instructional videos. Our extensive inventory means most orders arrive in 3 days or less. Get low prices, quick shipping, and incredible customer service. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Can-Am. It's the FMF Steele Creek GNCC and FMF KTM's Kailub Russell leads the way, and he has got a giant lead. Now, a little analysis here. We hear on lap one, there was a hill climb, and they told the riders it would be risky, but you could try it on the first lap. You could also go around it, which would be the easier line, but it's much longer. And very few of the riders elected to take it. Russell did, and he got off to a good start, as well as his teammate Baylor. They're the only two that took it. The assumption is that a lot of the other riders didn't realize it was there. Now, they do have a riders meeting right before the race, but a lot of times it's kind of procedural stuff. I don't know how close attention the other riders were paying, but Barry Hawk, who designs these GNCC tracks, did mention it. Either way, the riders who didn't take it now have a big deficit to make up. They've been fighting back all day long. Mullins, who's now up to second. Here's Josh Strang. He's made some moves. I believe he's gotten around Jordan Ashburn and is making a bid now for the podium. But here is Russell. His lead is big, and with the kind of experience this kid has got the last few years, winning races and now a championship, look at him inch his way to the top of that hill in the ruts. He's not going to be easy to catch, although here's Mullins doing everything he can to make that happen. Strang has climbed to third. There was actually a problem with the exhaust system on Stuart Baylor's bike. He had to stop temporarily in the pits, so that's why he's dropped out of the top three. This course is just nasty. We're going to give you an up-close look at it with our XC slow-mo replay brought to you by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Look at Russell trying to stay off to the side of the track and out of those ruts, because now he keeps the feet on the pegs. That's where you get your best balance. Once you're dabbing and having your feet ripped off by the ruts, you're only holding on by your arms at that point, and that is tiring. The ruts are going to try to pull you to the back of the bike. When you gas the bike, it accelerates. That's going to pull you to the back also, and you have to keep using your arms to tug forward. When your feet are on the pegs, it's a lot easier to keep your body in the center of the machine. And now, look, we got a battle for second. Strang has caught Mullins. And there's one of those ruddy sections. You see Strang able to keep those feet on the pegs. He is on a charge right now. I don't think either of them really have a shot at Russell unless your leader makes a mistake, a bigger one than that. He made one there, but that was not catastrophic. Now, Russell, in his younger years, was not really known as a mud master. He's really improved in this as of late, as you watch Mullins here trying to keep pace. And Kailub is actually given a lot of the credit to working on the slow speed game. He's got a trials bike, a trials bicycle also that he works on a lot at home. Plans on even dabbling in a few enduro cross races this year to improve his skills in the slow and technical terrain. And in a muddy race like this, it has paid off. Everyone else fighting for second, and what a fight it is.
What do you call a machine that combines precision-engineered handling, industry-leading power, and a rider-focused design? We call it a Can-Am. From the essentials to fully loaded, you'll find that same combination in every ATV and side-by-side we build. And right now, get your own for as low as $149 a month. Can-Am, the ride says it all.
Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Can-Am. With their fight for it today here in North Carolina, here's their leader, Kailub Russell. He has been so solid. Look at that perfect form to the corners and a nice little wheelie. Keep the rear end on the ground and driving through that section. But here's the fight. Charlie Mullins has been under some intense fire from Josh Strang for the last 2 laps. But he has not relinquished that position, and now Strang has had to go back to work. He must have made a mistake, lost some ground, and is trying to reset himself and bid for second place, and that's key because in the points, last year Russell and Mullins just walked away with it. They went 1-2 in the series. Strang not happy about that. You see he's really digging right now, trying to make that ground back up. Strang won this title a couple of years ago, then went through a dark period, broke his leg the year of his title defense, had all sorts of bad luck before that even. Then spent a year trying to recover, racing out of the West Coast. Then last year came back with his own program. This year, now that he's been linked up with Randy Hawkins and the folks at Yamaha, he seems a lot happier, a lot more stability to his program than being a one-man gang last year. Go back up front to Russell, and he finally has gotten it stuck in one of those ruts. And now getting some help from the spectators, which is legal. Wow. And still not going. So this is the opportunity that Mullins, Strang, and the rest were hoping for. The slot car track finally caught our leader out. Let's see how Mullins handles it. That is so difficult. Yeah, those tree roots down in those ruts. The tree roots are like hitting ice. Mullins did well, and same for Strang. So they chop a little bit of ground off of Russell's lead, but at one point it was 2 minutes, which is an eternity in this type of racing. Even though we're going for 3 hours, normally the gaps are within the seconds. The thing about Russell, though, is the mental strength. He's able to shrug those types of mistakes off. He doesn't overthink it too much. A lot of guys will panic in that situation. They'll try to rush and get that time back, which leads to more mistakes. Same thing with Russell off the start. Normally doesn't get that good of a start, and he normally isn't bothered by that. He just runs his own laps and figures eventually it's going to work out for him, and it has. He's trying to open it back up. No real threat despite that stuck situation. Back under the bridge and looking smooth. One of the most unique sections in the series there where the fans were able to get over the course and look down. They built a couple of newer bridges here the last few years, really making this course spectator friendly, and it draws in a couple of thousand people, one of the bigger events of the year now in pure spectator count. And they're watching this Mullins and Strang battle that continues to roll. A little bit further back, you should have Baylor and Thad Duvall fighting for it. Remember, Baylor was up front early, had exhaust problems, stopped in the pits, got that fixed. He's back out there. Not going to see the KTM podium sweep, though. Strang has just been too tough. But Strang would like to pass Mullins, you see coming by in this section, and take over second, break up that stranglehold. That's the goal all year for Strang. Break the stranglehold that those two KTM riders had on the series a year ago. Here's an opportunity for Strang as Mullins gets into lap traffic, but he handles it like a champ, weaves his way through. Look, Strang getting close, though. Going to be a test of wills down the stretch. Everybody's got to be tired by now. We'll see what they have up their sleeves. What a performance, though, here by Russell. Never really threatened for it. Proving why he's the GNCC champ. And if Mullins stays in second, Mullins will remain the points leader, but two big victories in a row are going to feel good for the champ, even if he doesn't leave up front of the points. Russell had a bad race at our opener a couple of weeks ago in Florida. Here we go. He left no doubt about this one. You normally can't lead a GNCC from start to finish. Well, he just proved he can do it. There it is, checkered flag and victory for Kailub Russell in front of his adopted home state fans. Here comes Mullins, and he will make it the KTM 1-2 sweep again. Here is Strang in third. He gave it a run. Trying to crack this code, though, the Orange Man has not been easy. We're back in XC2. We got a battle. No, that's not XC2. That is Stuart Baylor on the two-stroke and Thad Duvall on the Honda four-stroke. Duvall backed by RideMPS.com, AMSOIL, and Honda going after it. He had a bad start. He fought his way around Baylor now through the checkered flag and stealing fourth place. What an effort by the man from West Virginia, pushing Baylor back to fifth, Ashburn sixth, DeLong seventh, and Trevor Bollinger, that's your XC2 class winner. Ricky Russell was second in the class. Chris Bach on the Johnny Campbell Racing Honda in between them from XC1. Those are your AMSOIL results. Here are your AMSOIL point standings. You see Russell still second, but has erased a lot of the damage that he had after that rough one in Florida. Strang up to third. Still trying to break the 1-2 performance of the KTM boys. Well, there was no doubt about this one. Russell got a good start. He does not normally do that. Once he had it, he knew it'd be hard to challenge. His teammate Stuart Baylor was second early. Then here is Charlie Mullins moving into the runner-up position when Baylor had some problems. And then Mullins had to deal with pressure from Josh Strang all day long. They slugged it out for second, but in the end, Mullins was able to hold him off of the runner-up spot, and Russell, not challenged at all, takes the victory. That's 2 in a row for him. Congrats to Kailub Russell. For everyone at Racer TV, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching.